Welcome to this week's deep dive. This week, for a very special edition, we have the founder of PromoChat, Jay Busselle. Welcome, Jay.
Hello. Hi, Kate.
So, this one is a big one, not in terms of the deep dive, but in terms of PromoChat, because we hit a milestone of
I know.
200 PromoChats.
It's true. Who knew?
And like, it's so interesting to me. Not that it's still around, like, that's still around, but so interesting is like, you always talk about how you started PromoChat and how this was like, well, I just started it and then kind of put it out there and then tried to convince people to follow me back.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
And now we're at 200, where it's like for 200 weeks we have done a
I
PromoChat.
know. I know. It blows me away every time I think about it. I remember the second year anniversary. I was like, "This thing's still going. Who would want to keep doing this?" And then 3 years, and then 4 years. We just crossed our fourth year in the end of March, and so 200 episodes. Kate, I know it's bananas.
We're in syndication now. Like we can just, we
Do
don't
I
even have to
get?
come
Do I
up with
ever
new
get to
stuff.
make money on this thing, or is it no?
No, you missed that window a
Yeah,
hundred
I did.
months ago.
And then I gave it away to Promo Kitchen. I mean, come on, what was I thinking?
You just blended it with Promo Kitchen. Like we
I
made it a
did. I
bigger thing.
did. It was blended in, actually. That's true.
Yeah, so our pro chat this week was really just about sort of looking back at people's favorite topics, their, what they've learned from it, what they've gained from it. So I would love to have this be a conversation of looking forward. So
Cool.
what do you see the future of promo chat being? I know as a team we've had conversations about what we could be, but where do you see this going from what you thought it would be to what it is now, to what it could
Well,
be?
to what it could be. Well, that's such a good question, Kate, because I think we need to be fair to the community. If we go a half a step back, the only reason that it was started on Twitter was because I realized there was a pattern there that I could follow. I saw other chats that were really successful from other associations on totally random crazy topics. Some were very small, some were very large, but I could see the pattern. And so I was kind of, I was like, okay, that's the template. Why isn't there one of those for our industry? So that was kind of the genesis of that. But then the truth is, not everybody loves Twitter, and I knew that on day one. And that's still the case 4 years later. And a lot of folks that we've, kind of convinced along the way, pretty much only use Twitter once a week on Wednesdays at 3, which is totally cool with me. This was never about converting people to Twitter, but what it was about was converting people to more conversation. And so I think looking forward to answer your question, we should be looking at what other platforms, or could we do this in a different way, live, in person, rotate it somewhere. So I think those of you who are watching will probably see between now and sometime the end of the year, 2021 for sure. We're probably going to experiment on some new things with new voices and on new platforms, because I think we want to expand the reach. We want to include more people. We want to definitely have a place where topics, everything from branding and marketing to small business, large business, how we execute things in terms of deliverables. There's so many interesting conversations to have. HR topics that I know nothing about, but yet are fascinating because somebody suggested it and they're going through some challenges, and then our team gets behind it and we're like, well, no, this is a really good topic. Or something that you read, Kate Plummer. You're always reading
Notorious
these
for that.
super interesting articles, but it prompts a really good question. And I think it leads us to great territory. So I hope in the future we can include more people, more discussion, and probably sprinkle in some new platforms.
Exactly. I mean, I mentioned this in the chat is that this community has kind of shown they'll follow us. I mean, the whole just coming to Twitter for us is a pretty clear indication of how far they're going to follow us. So
Right,
it'd
right.
be interesting to see where it happens next. So, in terms of, I love that, like, the goal of PromoChat is not to be on Twitter, but to have conversations. What what conversations do you think would be an interesting one to conquer, or even just sort of ones that we've had where you're just like, it's still resonating in your brain to this day?
Oh boy. Well, listen, I find myself, with one foot on the boat and one foot on the dock. And it's sometimes uncomfortable as the boat starts to drift away because there are topics that I'm curious about. By the way, stay curious. And there are topics that, those topics may not be for everybody, or the audience doesn't really care if it's graphics or a decorating technique or something like that. So I've learned to kind of try the approach of, I'm interested in this, what do you guys think? And that tends to lead to more inclusivity. And so but I am very serious about topics that would be better for the betterment of our industry, or to help every distributor, every supplier, every service provider to grow, to actually master their craft and be better at what they do. And I think that when we can get 50 smart people in the room that have ranges of experience and experiences that can in a way coach you or coach us, man, we move faster. We move faster together. And I think that that's what I want to make sure the topics include. So things like, growing your business, things that are scary, things that kind of, we don't talk about a lot, but it's like, okay, there are a lot of mergers and acquisitions going on. What does that really mean? Um, I had this discussion with my mother. My mother's in her early 80s. Shout out to mom. Hi, mom. And she was like, "Oh, well, in the 70s, when we were in real estate in the early days, there wasn't a Remax or Century 21 or a Coldwell Banker. It was like everybody just had their own realty. They were all just selling their own house with their own. She called it. We put our shingle out and sold houses. So it's like I think that in a lot of industries, there's consolidation. That's normal. That's natural, and that's usually a good thing, but it can lead to unintended consequences. It can lead to commoditization. It can lead to kind of a watering down of creativity. So I want to make sure we have really fun discussions that are really about creativity, that kind of push us to the edge where we're not sure. Um, you know, I think we need to have more topics with end users or end buyers or the actual consumer. If there a way to do that, I think we should do that more often. So I don't know. That's kind of what's on my mind, at least today. That and tacos.
Always tacos. Yeah, I find it so interesting, this tiny community that has grown, but I also see like the numbers and the reach that each conversation have.
Right?
So we have lurkers and we know you're out there,
Oh yeah.
people. Like we know you're there.
Listen, that was the first thing, Kate, that blew me away. Was I was like, okay, so 6 or 7 people joined me on the very first promo chat, and I begged people. Like I was like, just hang with me for 4 or 5 till we figure this out. And it was about the fourth chat where I could tell people were enjoying it. There was some joking going back and forth, and I could see that other people were connecting outside of me, which is exactly what I wanted to have happen. I didn't want this to be spotlight on Jay. I knew that would get awkward really fast, and people get tired of me. I understand that. So by including that circle and expanding that out, the connections were happening and conversations were happening independent of what I thought. So to see the first time we went over 5,000 in terms of Twitter views and reaches, I was blown away. I was like, 5,000 organic impressions? What? And then the next milestone, 10,000, and then 20,000. And we've crossed 30 plus thousand once we blended it in with Promo Kitchen, expanded our pie a little bit. To know that organically, just a conversation could have that many ripples, 30,000 plus ripples. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of alarming too, because you're like, I'm just talking with my friends, and there's like,
Right?
oh no.
Yeah. Kate and I are just talking about, silly gifts.
Yeah. I'm not just talking about awards or anything. It's
Yeah.
there's a lot out there. So
There's a little bit of branding in there, a little bit of marketing in there. And then of course, if you can ever weave in Bobby Lehue, you're going to go to a new place of Latin literature, indie bookstores, quoting some Japanese poetry.
he
He breaks
quoted
the
a
culture.
cowboy and a French philosopher in one.
I loved that in our last chat. If you haven't read that post or that chat, you got to go back to Twitter. It would be worth just for that.
Yeah, you go find that one, because you're just kind of like, oh, delete, 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 rewrite whatever you're gonna write when you see that one come through.
I know Bobby's going to be mad that I even brought him up, but you know what? Hey, it's a celebrity. You got to name
He
drop
raises the
occasionally.
bar, so it's fantastic. So one piece of advice to anyone out there just sort of being like, how do I get an online community like this, or how do I like encourage growth like this? What would be your tip?
Oh my gosh. First tip would be just go for it. I was nervous. I reached out to Charity, Lisa Horn, Danny Rosen, a couple of other folks, and I was like, should I mean, I think I want to do this. And they were like, well, just do it and find out. And I was like, oh, like everything else. It's like, you have that initial, I think I'm going to go for it. And then you get a little fearful and you pull back.
You get in your head.
Um, you you get in your head, you doubt yourself. So I would say first, put the doubts aside, just go for it. There's never been a better time, whatever that is, whether that's your own individual marketing efforts, your own branding, things that you might do on video. I just talked to somebody this morning that during the quarantine, they said they went 47 days straight with a video and they didn't have anything planned, but they were going to talk about something about promo. And this was a distributor. And I was like, that's so interesting. It's like a little video journal. And she said, she goes, the most views I ever got was the one time I was in the bathroom. And then she goes, but wait, hold on, let me explain. I was like, okay, but just be creative like that and just go for it. So I don't know that I have any wonderful advice except don't get in your head. Put the fears to the side, create something, experiment with something. I mean, we changed the platform a little bit, the questions and how we do the questions. And thank goodness for our behind the scenes team. I got to give a shout out to everyone, including you and about 12 other brilliant people now that help us, that help collaborate. And so that's really the lesson for me. I feel like I got the best out of this is collaborating with 12 really, really fun, smart people who all give a damn. I mean, we're crazy. We butt heads occasionally, but it's never a big deal, and it's always about the work. So I feel lucky. I'm the lucky one. Who knew it
Yeah.
would work?
I was going to say the one person you're going to want, first step, get Josh Story on your team because he's
Oh
the
yeah,
best writer out of all of them.
agreed. And I knew well before he was with Zoom. I was like, "Hey Josh, guess what? I'm doing this new thing." This was like on the second chat. I was like, "If I could just get one big supplier to participate, then everyone would go, huh? What's going on? What is this PromoChat thing?" So yeah, I manipulated that one just a little bit, but it worked.
Yeah, yeah. So you're going to need a Josh. Get
Josh,
Javi, a Javier Menendez. He's going to be the one that gets you
definitely.
on point. You get a Joe to give you, like Johanna, to give you opinions. You get a Regan Hartman because she's going to be like, okay, she's got this. You
Yeah,
get a
and don't forget
JGR.
this. She'll always remember something. Yeah, and JGR,
Yeah,
exactly.
Jessica Gibbons Ron. You get her. She's going to bring in the ideas. And you get a Molly because she's going to edit everything. And
And
she's
just
going to keep you on
it
point.
takes a team, it takes a tribe, it takes the
It
community. We
really
can't
does.
do this one at a time. And you, of course, you're always
I'm
involved. You're
spell
coming
checker.
up with great ideas. So stir in the pot. Hey, what about this? And I'm like, no, that's a crappy idea. And then everyone else is like, no, that's really good. And I'm like, yeah, what they said, Kate, this is a great idea.
You've been on board since the beginning. Yeah, you get someone like me to be like, here's something I read and
You're
I'm
you
angry
just
about.
and you're just so soft spoken and you never have an opinion. That's what always
So
surprises me.
calm, super humble.
I
But yeah,
know.
so Jay, we made it to 200.
We
Here's to another
did.
200 more.
Yeah,
Who knows what
cheers.
platform it will be on?
High five. Here's my little high five hand. High five to 200 more. Literally, we have no idea what's in store, and I think that's what's fun is it's art. We don't have a template. Really, we have the past, but we don't want to keep doing what we've always done. We kind of want to push it a little bit. So I'm looking forward to whatever's coming.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. So, Jay, everyone, come join us for the 201st one
Please.
every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern and noon Pacific. And thank
On
you, Jay,
Twitter. It's
on
still on
Twitter.
Twitter.
Still on Twitter. We'll alert you if we move somewhere else. And thank you to our sponsor, Maple Ridge Farms, who just kind of keeps us all going with chocolate and cheese.
Sweetness, those Maple Ridgers. Oh,
Yes, they're such good people, and
they
you can find
are.
them at PromoChat too because they've got great content.
Agreed.
Well, perfect. Well, thanks, Jay.
You're
Let's
welcome. Thanks, Kate.
keep going. Congratulations on 200.
Thank you very much. It's a team win.
Perfect. Take care.